G'day guys, it's scottalexanderking here from Animal Dreaming, and today I thought I would show you how to make what I call witch's bottles. A witch's bottle was traditionally, I guess, just any receptacle at all. Could have been a jar or a can or a little box or anything like that you could put things in with an intention attached. So it's like a spell in a way, where you brought together all the elements, all the materials, all the things that were symbolic of the thing that you were trying to either banish or manifest or bring into your life, and you place these things into the jar or bottle or box with a spell, with a written intention, basically, which then would, create the spell, and the box would be sealed and maybe buried or placed somewhere where it wasn't going to be disturbed until the manifestation materialized. So yes, so what started this interest for me was many years ago. We had well, like most people have, like a negative time in their life, a bit of a dark chapter, I guess. And we want to protect the family, we want to protect our home, we want to protect basically everything that we held dear. So what we did was we collected 4 jars, just regular jars, just old, I don't know, baby food jars or something at the time, I can't remember. And we filled them with rusty nails and sharp pins and kidney quills and old rusty screws, anything that was sharp, like pins, drawing pins, all that sort of stuff. We filled the jars with those sharp pointy things, and we buried them in each 4 corners of the property with the intention of creating like an invisible barrier. And what we did was we envisioned those glass jars that were filled with sharp objects becoming like a prickly hedge that formed a barricade or a border around our property, keeping everyone and everything that wasn't desirable out. Okay, so in Africa, I've seen documentaries where they keep their sheep or their goats in these enclosures to protect them from the lions at night, and they grow these really incredibly prickly hedges around their enclosures to keep them safe, because the lions and other predatory animals don't want to be, going through that prickly barricade. And that's what gave me the idea to do this. So it was, that was the intention for that. But if we wanted to manifest something, like if we just needed a little bit more money to pay bills, or we had a birthday party coming up, birthday celebration coming up, and we wanted to be able to buy something specific, or we had health issues, or there was someone we were worrying about, we would also create these jars, but in them we'd place the intentions, the things that we were looking to manifest for that occasion, into the jars. So we would decorate the jars accordingly. So I'm going to show you how I would make some these, which we call witch's bottles, and they're quite decorative, but you can keep them as simple as you like, or you can just keep them like a jar. It doesn't have to be decorated, but the idea is putting the attention and the effort into decorating them sort of adds to the energy and the magic and the power. So it's not really just a matter of just grabbing a jar and stuffing it full of stuff and just hoping it's going to work. Magic doesn't just happen, is what I'm trying to say. You've got to put intent, you've got to put effort, you've got to create the energy, you've got to really let the spirits know what it is that you're looking to achieve. And so yeah, that can be as beautiful or as simple as you like, basically. But I'm going to show you now how to make some. I've created some already, and I'll be showing you how I went about that. Yeah, so just I hope you enjoy it, and we'll chat again after the workshop. Thank you. See you soon. Bye. Welcome back, guys. Here we are. We're about to create our own witch bottles, and these are ones that I prepared earlier. They are basically just jars, and they're empty and they're recycled. This one is actually an old jar that once had capers in it, little capers, and this one is decorated with dried rose petals and symbols of the fairy realm. It's all the way around, completely encased in rose petals, dried rose petals, and I'll tell you how I did all this in a sec. That one's beautiful, I think. It's one of my favourites. It's out of the 3 of them, I think this is my favourite. Then we've got this one, a different style. This one's covered in macaw feathers. Bizarre, my little boy said, but beautiful and powerful nonetheless. And it's got a little charm on the front here. That's Kokopelli. He's a god of fertility, and in my world he brings abundance, and see those crests on his head. If you look really closely you can see his head. He's a flute player, by the way. He's playing the flute. Kokopelli is his name. I've said that before, but his name might be recognizable to you, it might not be, but he is a South American god of fertility, and he's playing the flute. Sometimes that big hump on his back, he's got his back humped over there. In the early stories, that hump wasn't his back, it was a sack that he carried on his back, because he was a travelling salesman, of all things, the story goes. He's a fertility god because when he came visiting, it wasn't unusual for some of the women to fall pregnant. Magic, huh? Anyways, he was a symbol of fertility, and that crest on his head there was actually supposedly made of macaw feathers, the tail feathers of the macaw. So I thought, what a wonderful combination for this little jar, which is obviously about abundance and fertility and light. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. The third one that I've made is covered in something quite special, shed python skin. Now these skins, we used to find them all the time in our barn at the Animal Dreaming farmhouse, but we've sold that now and moved on. But we've still got all the snake skins. I used to get maybe 2 or 3 a month turn up in the barn, because we had poultry and pigeons, and obviously rodents had come for the chook food and all sorts of things. But when they came, they often left us a present or a gift, and I collected them up. So I've used well, not even a whole skin, because it's only a young python. If you look here, you can see the python's face. See it just there where my thumb is? There's his face. You might better see the coverings that would have gone over his eyes before he shed his skin, and that goes all the way around. Anyway, so they're quite special. Again, they're empty on the inside, nothing inside. Another caper jar. But the idea is that we fill them with intention. So I'll talk to you how I make them first, and then I'll talk about how we put the intention into the jars. It's very, very simple. This one's got the 5-pointed pentagram, which is that's the 5-pointed star. It talks about the 5 elements, and that circle around the outside is like the universe, the barriers, the protection that we set for ourselves, our boundaries. Okay, so people think it's a negative symbol, but it's not. It's actually a celebration of the 5 elements, and when you bring those 5 elements together, you get life. So it's a symbol of life, abundance, protection, and spirit. And of course we've got macaw feathers just to decorate, and you can see underneath there used to be a red lid, and I sprayed it green just to match in. So you can put a lot of work into a witch's bottle, or they can be as simple as you like, or as decorative as you like. So I'm just going to pop them there while we create a new one. I might just move them back a little bit so we don't knock them. Oops. Alright, so I've already started the bottle we're going to work on today. And this one, instead of using natural found objects like the rose petals or the feathers or the snake skin, that one the lid doesn't like being on, does it? Instead of using, all those beautiful natural things that I found along the way, I've decided that this one is going to be made, still representing the natural world, but I've used little butterfly wings that I've cut out of wrapping paper. Okay, so the options are limitless really as to how you make a witch's bottle. Now what I do, I use PVA glue, and I just get a little jar, a little bowl, and I just place some of the PVA glue into the bowl. Then I use my paintbrush, and I've got my little wings that I've cut out earlier. There they are. There's got some here for you to see. Not in the bowl, Scott. Anyway, so we just literally, I'll just take that one out. We literally just paint the jar, the glass, with the PVA glue, Now this is what I did with the others, with the rose petals. They were already dry, so I just literally painted the jar like this, and I'll show you what I did. Exactly the same technique for all of them. Same with the snake skin. I cut the snake skin up into little squares, and with the feathers, of course, they were just perfect the way they are, so I didn't have to touch them. And I just get the little butterfly wing there, and I just pop it on. Another one there. I might want to mix it up and put a little bit of a colour in, just every now and then, so it's not too over the top. Little blue butterfly wing. Then what I do is, oops, I've gone and messed up that, haven't I? What I do then is I just paint over the top with the glue. See that? And that just seals it in, and no chance of them peeling off later on. So how's that look? Pretty good. And I just keep going until I've literally filled up the jar. I might just put some more on there. Quite simple. Now this is quite therapeutic actually, it's quite relaxing. You don't have to make it a chore. But as I'm making the witch's bottle, I'm thinking about the reason for making the witch's bottle. So obviously butterflies, a lot of people have association with butterfly. We might see the butterfly as a symbol of the afterlife, because according to stories, the butterfly escorts the souls that are departed to the afterlife, and that's why a lot of psychic mediums love butterflies, particularly the blue butterfly. They can also be a symbol of transformation or change or growth. So I'm just thinking about the purpose of butterfly, or the medicine of butterfly, the message of butterfly, as I'm making the witch's bottle, because intent is everything when it comes to working with spirit and magic and, you know, manifesting. So I'll just keep going, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. I'll finish it off after the workshop, and I'll show you, I'll include a little video of the work of the finished. Now I might not have enough wings here, see, to do the whole jar, because there's quite a lot of space left, and so I might have to adapt it somehow, but I'll show you what I do when the workshop's over. But you just keep layering. You literally just keep layering, and you just keep building up and building up, because that'll stay sticky for a little while, and you just layer. Very, very therapeutic. And again, focusing on the intent for making the witch's bottle in the first place. Not all witch's bottles have to be about abundance or manifesting. As I said, they can be for healing. You can make a witch's bottle for any particular reason, any reason whatsoever. You might, be wanting to lose weight, for example, and you want the spirits to help because maybe you haven't got a great deal of willpower like myself, or it might be a medical reason why you need to lose weight or whatever. So instead of using butterfly wings, what would you use perhaps instead? Now it doesn't have to be animal based or from the natural world. Think of something that you could paste on that had an association with food or diet. One of the things that come to my mind just thinking about it right now is maybe some different coloured serviettes. You could rip up some little serviettes into little pieces or cut them up, and you could paste them on while focusing on your desire to be healthier or lose weight. And it could be in preparation for surgery, it could be all sorts of things, but you need help and you need it now. Ask the spirits. What if you wanted to travel? What if you wanted to get out and about and explore the world, but you didn't believe you had it in you, or you needed confidence, or you didn't have the the finances to support you? Well, why not make a witch's bottle and decorate it with a cut up map which suggests travel? See what I mean? If you want, and it's just symbolic, but very, very powerful and fun as well. This is not a chore. This is quite a wonderful, magical little exercise that I really enjoy doing, because it calms the mind and it stills the mind. What if I wanted to get married? What if I thought that marriage was something that wasn't going to be available to me? Well, you could create a witch's bottle using lace, decorate it with lace, or you could use a doily, a paper doily that has that lace-like effect. You can cut that up or rip that up and use that. What if you wanted to manifest a baby? Like what if you wanted to start a family and you didn't feel that you were able to do that without help. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, have lots of different issues with fertility, or they've lost a child and they're afraid to try again for all sorts of heartbreaking reasons. Some people just have difficulty. Well, again, let's go to the wrapping paper and find wrapping paper that, speaks loudly to you of an incoming baby. Look, the point I'm trying to make is that you can make a witch's bottle for any reason out of pretty much anything. Okay, so, but it's sort of good to use recycled jars because, they're going to be wasted otherwise, and it's just good to give them a new life rather than going out and buying something special. You should be able to make a witch's bottle just from things that you find around the home. Okay, you don't have to go to any great trouble. For example, you might have glitter, and now glitter, you think, oh, why would I want to use glitter on a witch's bottle? Well, think about how a glitter sparkles in the light. Think about how that would make you feel if that was speaking of things like success or abundance or money, like gold. Like, imagine creating a jar and just covering it purely in gold glitter. That's perfectly acceptable, and it'd be quite a beautiful thing to look at and hold. Or you could, if you're looking at abundance, just thinking about that, you could use old Monopoly money, or you could photocopy your Monopoly money and cut that up. Don't use real money because it's illegal. Even photocopying real money is illegal. But you could easily adapt that and turn it and use something else. Okay. All right. So now that I'll finish this off after this one. But what do we do now? We've created our witch's bottle. We've got our witch's bottle. What do we do? Well, it's as simple as getting a piece of paper, getting a pen, writing your intentions. Simply writing a prayer. And it's just like, to yourself or to the universe or to the great spirit or your angels or your guides or someone in spirit that you've missed and you wish you could see again, ask them for help. Doing a prayer, just writing a prayer, writing your intentions, and making sure, of course, that when you're asking, for something, that you're conscious of the fact that no harm must come to anyone else. So if you're asking for abundance or money, be aware that it'd be preferable not to have a family member pass away and leave you money in the will. Does that make sense? So no harm must come to anyone when we're manifesting. I'm not going to write anything here. I'm going to just pretend. But imagine I was writing a prayer to myself here. I would basically start it as if I was writing to a dear friend. So I'm speaking to the Creator Spirit. Creator Spirit knows exactly who you are because they've been there with you since the day you were born, before you were conceived even. They know you, okay? They know who you are. They know what your intentions are. You don't have to go into any special, rigmarole. Just simply write on the piece of paper what it is your heart yearns for, and with the overall intent, like, of Spirit deciding whether this is for your highest good or not, because you might want something, but Spirit might say you don't need it right now. Here's something else that'll take its place. It'll get you there quicker or whatever. So allow the spirits to decide in what form it manifests, but just literally write down, I need help with my health, or I'm really struggling financially this month, or I really miss my daughter. I wish she would call me or come around and visit, or whatever it is you're trying to manifest. You write it on the prayer piece of paper and you just simply fold it up. Now, this is me. But I kiss it. When I've written a prayer or an intention, I give it a kiss. Now, it's not because it's about love or anything like that. It's purely because I want a little bit of me on the paper, so Spirit knows who sealed it. It's like a little seal, if you like. So by kissing it, it's my DNA. I'm showing to Spirit, this is a prayer from me specifically. And then what I do is I just grab my jar and I literally just pop it in there like that. Now, I could add some herbs if I wanted. I could add a crystal. I could add anything, or a photo if I'm wanting my daughter to come home, for example, which I'm not, but, well, I would love her if she visits, but that's not, I'm just using that as an example. I'm yearning for my daughter to come and visit, and I might pop a photo in there of her to let the spirits know exactly which daughter I'm talking about. I've only got the one, but others have more, so placing a photo identifies. All right, but you don't have to do that. Just the prayer in itself is enough. So these ones, because the macaw in my world is a symbol of light. It's in South America, it's a symbol of the sun. It's a symbol of celebration. But imagine if your world is dark. Imagine if you suffer from, you know, overwhelm or depression or just grief or sadness. Bringing a little light into your life isn't going to hurt, is it? So this is what the macaw represents. It represents light. It talks about illumination. It talks about clarity. It talks about communication, self-expression. So, you know, that would be a wonderful bottle to put a prayer in for those with that intention. The bound around here with twine, just to show that it's sealed and it's a sealed deal. I'm not going back on my intention. The snake, this is a healing jar. Why is it a healing jar? Because snake sheds its skin 2 or 3 times a year, depending on the snake and the seasons and how old it is. So by shedding its skin, the snake is teaching us how to shed those things, those aspects, those old beliefs, whatever, that no longer serve us. Does that make sense? So the snake teaches us to shed and release the things that no longer serve us, things that hold us back, things that block our way forward. And in the process of doing that, moves us from a state of dis-ease into a state of ease, so that we don't have to experience disease. Now, disease in this process happens when we are in denial, or we're just not addressing things that we need to address, and all that festering and all that build-up creates a sense of unease, and that can lead to illness. So snake teaches us how to shed and release the things that no longer serve us. And the reason why I put macaw feathers on is because, again, the macaw is a symbol of light, communication, self-expression, and that's what this jar would be used for. Okay, and the colour green talks about abundance and fertility. It's also the colour of the Earth Mother as well. She's a beautiful green planet, and to me the colour green is a colour of health and you know, vibrancy and fertility and wonderful, wonderful things. Okay, so what's this jar used for? I could use this jar to bring in the fairies. Now, you think, well, gosh, Scott, fairies don't even exist. Well, in my world they do, because in my world the fairies are actually symbolic of the elements, not the elements, sorry, the ancestors. There's so many stories, old stories, of people finding themselves in the fairy realm, and the more they looked around, the more they recognized the people that were there as loved ones who'd passed over many years before. So in my world, the fairy realm and heaven and the other worlds are all the same place. We just perceive it through different eyes at different times. Why would I call the fairies for a situation like this? Well, the fairies understand fun, they understand love, they understand commitment, they understand connection to the earth. I would place a spell in here for anyone who was lost, or who was confused, or who was needing to learn to love themselves. As I said, the options are limitless. Why you would make a witch's bottle is entirely up to you, and how you make it is entirely up to you. But I just thought I would show you what a witch bottle was, and how I make them, and what I would use a witch bottle for. So I hope you've enjoyed the workshop, guys. I'd love to see some photos of the witch's bottles that you've made. I will finish the butterfly one off and I'll show you what it looks like. And yes, if you have any ideas of, you know, show me the witch's bottles that you've created. Sending photos through Facebook or just emailing them would be great, or just posting them and tagging me in. I'd love to see what you come up with. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this little workshop, and I can't wait to teach you something new in the future. Thanks heaps, guys.